Good evening, good evening. Welcome back to another show. And I'm John, and tonight I'm going to do the fans forum for opposition as a Chelsea fan. So if you like the channels, could you please subscribe if you are new, and please stick a like on my video. And like I said, leave the comments sections down below. I'm going to bring in a Chelsea fan now, and he can be a little bit nervous, but listen, I think he's a great guy. And here is Marco. Good evening to you, Marco. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well at the minute. I started this chat for a couple of months, and I got 412 subscribers at the moment in time. I'm looking to get 1,000, maybe in a couple of months' time. And the more I keep doing this, the more I'm going to get subscribers on the go. So yeah, so it's all good.
Absolutely.
So Mark, I got you on mate, and you wanted to come on, and I'm quite happy to get you on my chat. And we're going to talk about Chelsea Football Club, and yeah. So how long have you been supporting Chelsea for?
Well, I'm 63. My earliest recollection of actually sort of liking Chelsea and becoming a Chelsea supporter is probably around about 1964, something like that. A couple of semi-finals they were in 65, 66. Then we got to the final in 67. So, yeah, around about the mid-60s, I've been a Chelsea supporter. So, obviously, just like you Newcastle supporters, I've seen some ups and downs.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't won a league since 1927, which is a long time. And yeah, I mean, 63, and you've been to watch Chelsea quite a long time. Good for you. And yeah, I mean, what is your greatest memories of being a Chelsea fan? Your greatest times? I mean, you got like the day where that sort of thing, and yeah.
Obviously, there's some great times back in the day when we was quite yo-yo really. We had some when I first started supporting Chelsea, they was on the up. Say in the 60s, had a good side under Tommy Docherty. So there's been some good times. The FA Cup in 1970 is a highlight, for me. I was only 13, and it was we didn't play very well in both games, and yet we battled through Leeds and we got it. So that's probably the highlight of all. But obviously got the Championship in 2005 and the European Cup in 2012 they've got to be your highlights, haven't they?
Gotta be, because excuse me, Chelsea are a huge football club. You've seen some great times and bad times, and and for me, if I was a Chelsea fan, when Josie came in the first time, and he came and won 2 league titles in his first 2 seasons, and he got on Terry, he's already at the club, Lampard's already there, Drogba when he came first season, I didn't think he was good, but the second season, he just made us own.
Yeah, it's funny, you're saying that about Drogba. People have got short memories. The first season Drogba was there, he was getting a lot of stick from the Chelsea fans. He was diving about a bit, and probably getting himself used to our league and getting kicked a few more times than he was used to. But what a legend he became, and sort of liking him in some ways maybe to Werner at the moment. He's struggling a little bit, new league, so we'll see on that one. But yeah, we had some great players in that era.
Sure. Come on to Werner later on, and yeah, I mean, Drogba when he came, he cost you £24 million, and I thought his first season, I think he was poor diving over the pitch, but the second season, he was a need for the zone, because that guy was he was a beast. Class act.
You took the words out of my mouth. He was an absolute beast. Yeah, on his day, he was unplayable.
Wasn't he just? And I saw some cracking goals over the years. I mean, the one against Liverpool when he chested it, and then he turned his man and he hit it. That's a cracking goal. I can remember that. He saw some cracking goals. But for me, he's up there the very, very best. So, and talk about this season at this moment. Frank Lampard took over 18 months ago, and everyone's buzzing about this guy, saying that he's going to do good things if given time. Football now, you don't get the time at all whatsoever, unfortunately, if you know what I mean. And do you think they sacked him too early, though? Or do you think it was ready for the club?
That's a difficult one. I think he was sacked too early. I think he'd have done okay. But what can you say? In some ways, this may sound a bit strange, but in some ways, I was really unhappy when he got sacked. On the day I had the raving ump, like a lot of people, I was really cheesed off. But I think in some ways, if he hadn't have turned it round and it carried on, and we carried on struggling and what have you, some of the fan base were turning against him already, and I really didn't want that to happen. You know, he's a legend at Chelsea, and I didn't want anything tarnishing that. So in some ways, he's gone, and his legend status is still very much intact. And and we all know how it works at Chelsea, like it or not. That's the way Roman Abramovich runs the club. You can't argue with him really, because A, he puts his money where his mouth is, and B, it's worked, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, if I was a Chelsea fan, I think Frank coming into Chelsea would have been a bit too soon for him. He should have stayed at Derby for another season or two, get them up, get them in the mid-table, and then after that, come to Chelsea. Because I spoke to Lionel, he's a Chelsea fan, a couple of nights ago, and they lives in Japan, and he technically said the same thing as well. That's what I was trying to say. And I just wish Frank all the best in the future, where he decides to go next. Well, his stock is high at this moment in time. And yeah, I mean, now you got Thomas Tuchel, came from PSG, German, and so far you play, is it 4 games he played? He drawn 1 and won 4?
Yeah,
5 games.
He's done really well. Sorry, go on.
No, you carry on.
Yeah, no, I say he's come in, he's done well. It looks like he's experimenting a little bit, and he's getting away with it. He's still getting the results, you know. He doesn't really know his best side, which is understandable. Got a big squad and a lot of talent there, and you know he's got to find his team. He's got to find his squad, and he's sort of, you know, trying different players here and there, looking at everybody. So fair play to him, and he comes over well, doesn't he? I think even any opposition supporter would have to sort of admit that he comes over quite well. You know, he's not pretentious or anything like that. So, you know, I'm right behind him. It's the king is dead, long live the king, sort of thing. You know, Frank's gone, and this guy's come in. I wasn't sure about him, if I'm honest, you know, because of his record. He had a good record, but at PSG, you would be expected to win the league every year, wouldn't you? With what they've got there. He only won a cup in Germany, but so he didn't win a league or anything. But then again, that's hard with Dortmund and obviously Munich. Bayern Munich obviously dominate mostly, don't they? But you know, so it's difficult over there, really. So yeah, but you know, I like him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll do good things, I believe, if he gets the time. And a Chelsea manager does last over 2 years on the field, unless you're Jose Mourinho. He was there for 3.5 years when he got sacked after the Rules of Ball game back in 2007. And other than that, it's just been 2 years, like Carlo Ancelotti being sacked after 2 seasons, despite winning the trophy, being the double. And on the Tuchel, and he definitely needs time. And I think he'll play some cracking stuff for you guys, because he does like free-flowing football. I got Chipas here, Newcastle fan. Well, we're now 17th after Burnley's win. Embarrassing for him, despite a 10-point buffer. That is Mike Ashley. Mike Ashley would be quite happy finishing 17th place. That is his trophy. And I don't want to be finishing 17th. But that's for another time for this moment in time. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, he likes to play his 3 centre-backs, 3-4-3, playing good football. And he brought back Marcos Alonso back. To me, I like Marcos Alonso. I mean, he's good going forward, but defensively, not the best, but going forward, I think he's absolutely fine for a big lad.
I think you're right. Going forward, yeah, he's class. But to me, he's not my cup of tea, if I'm honest. He's good as a wing back, yeah. I don't think he's disciplined enough as a defender. He switches off. He goes forward, doesn't get back fast enough. He gets away with it in a 3, in a 5. You know, 5 across the back as a wing back. He gets away with it because he's covered. But in a back 4, he's atrocious.
Wow.
You know, that's my opinion. I don't think he can defend well enough, and I don't think he's disciplined enough as a defender. I'm old fashioned. The first requirement of a defender is to be able to defend.
Correct, and you've got to defend well.
Yeah, and you know, I watched it under Frank. I watched Alonso a few times, and he's up around the opposition penalty box, you know, when we've lost the ball, you know, and I'm thinking, what's he doing? He's getting in the way. He's getting in the way of the forwards, and You know, I'm thinking you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there. If it breaks down, we lose the ball. We're in trouble here. You know.
Totally agree, because you look at your back four, apart from Reece James, you haven't got quick centre backs. I mean, you haven't got quick centre backs, and I mean, Kurt Zuma, he's quite quick, I guess, but the rest of them, Silva's getting on a bit, unfortunately.
That's right.
And
yeah.
I can't remember France's name is Copieta, whatever his name is. Your club captain, and he's good.
Which one? Sorry, who?
Copieta, your club captain, the Spanish lad.
Yeah. As Villacueta. We call him Dave.
I should know that. I mean,
we can't say his name either, so we call him Dave.
Dave. Oh, I'll call him Dave then. I'll call him Dave. Oh, bless him. But you're right. I'll call him Dave. I can pronounce it, but hey.
It's a song that goes around the ground. Yeah, we can't say your name. We can't say your name. We'll just call you Dave.
I was going to say David Luiz then for a minute.
For some reason that was it. Yeah, it just I still can't say it now. If I want to say it quickly, if it wants to, if I want to shout his name out quickly, I can't say it.
So, I know. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, so I mean, get some funny names like Boots or thing. How can I not forget his name, man? But hey, it is what it is.
But you're right. There's not a lot of pace there, apart from Zuma. Zuma's a good player. I like Zuma. The only problem he's got a mistake. He's not great on the ball. His distribution's not brilliant.
Yeah.
But he's a good old-fashioned centre half. You know, he's powerful. He's quick. Scores us a few goals from corners.
Yeah, good in the air, quick, and he scores as well. And I like the guy. I do like him. I think I'd rather keep him in the Chelsea defence in the future. I think he's going to be decent, this guy. And if he gets the training right, he'd be fantastic alongside Thiago Silva. And for me, I followed his career because I love Italian football, because I love Serie A. And he played for AC Milan for quite a while, and he's loved there. And he was a decent defender, him. But shame he's 36, and he's still doing nothing.
I think when you play at the back, you can probably get away with it a little bit. You get an extra couple of years, I think, than maybe strikers or midfield players that have got to get up and down. You're at the back there. You're watching the game. You're reading the game, aren't you? If you can read it well, then you can play a little bit longer, I think.
Totally agree there, and he's got that. I'll give him another year's contract. I think you don't have to be quick. You got to read the game. I totally agree with you, and he's a good leader as well. Yeah, I do like it. And look at your midfield. You got N'Golo Kante. I mean, he's class, and he's still class. A lot of injuries though.
He's unbelievable, but he's starting to pick up injuries now. Maybe I think he's 30 now. And he's starting to pick up a few little niggly injuries. He never used to get injured, did he? But now he's sort of on a, he seems to be picking up these little niggles now. Maybe he's not getting a run because he plays a few games, gets a little niggly injury. He's out for a week or two or three, then he comes back again. So maybe his body is not getting that run, that regular sort of, through no fault of anybody's, he's getting these little injuries. But on his day, he's still top class. Absolutely. World class.
He is world class. He still is. I mean, a lot of clubs have been after him. I mean, whether he'll stay at Chelsea next season is another thing. And talking about Inter Milan want him as well, making cries about him for next season. And whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I think you need to keep him for a couple more seasons and that as well. And I do like him. If you look at the young players coming through, you got Mason Mount. I mean, Mason Mount is a decent player. Him, Billy Gilmour as well. They're both young players.
Yeah, I think the world of both of them, to be honest with you. I think they're really good players. I honestly think Billy Gilmour, sorry, is as good as Jorginho, as bloody J5 now. I forgot his name. My brain's gone. Jorginho, bloody! I nearly said Jorginho from the opposite. Jorginho, I think Billy Gilmour is as good as Jorginho now. So my opinion, he should be playing more.
I think he's young. If he's good enough, he's young enough, and he's a decent young player sort of thing as well. He came from Rangers. I think he came from Rangers, and he's going to be destined for the best in, And Mason Mount, I like him. I really do. His work rate is unbelievable, and he's just got pace and scores some goals with his left foot. I'm very impressed with him. And if you look at the player you got there, Kai Havertz as well, he was much talked about in Germany. Yeah, he's a decent player. I think he's a top quality player, scored goals at Bayer Leverkusen. And when he come to Chelsea, he came for 80-odd million pounds. I think the price tag is getting to it at this moment in time. I mean, is he not used to the Premier League yet, or would you give him another chance?
I would certainly give him another chance. I think he came over, obviously, big price tag. He's only 21. Let's not forget that. He's only 21, and, we got the 21-year-olds that come through our academies in all the clubs. We still think of them as kids, and they have to be nurtured and what have you. We're bringing this guy's come in, he's 21 years old, new country. He got COVID, which we don't know, how bad he got it, but, it could have affected his strength, his lung power, his ability to get around the pitch after he come back. We don't know, do we? And obviously, again, like I said earlier about Werner, it's a different league. It's a harder league. It's more physical. It's faster. I'm sure he'll come through. Class is there, isn't it? The old saying about class is permanent, form is temporary.
That's fair.
And if he's the player that he was in Germany, then it hasn't suddenly just left him. It's just that I think he just needs time to adapt. So I would certainly keep him. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. If I was a Chelsea fan, so I'd give the guy a chance because at the end of the day, I think he's a decent player and he needs a good time. Now you got the same nationality, Tuchel, Havertz, German.
Yeah.
They work a treat and it works together. Sometimes it do, sometimes it don't. And
I think Tuchel will find like I said to you earlier, he's Tuchel's finding his best team and all that, but he's going to find the role that suits them.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he will do. Guys, can you please smash the likes up to my video and please subscribe if you are new. And also please follow Mark Brown on his Twitter account, MarkySparky108. Is that right? 108?
That's right, yeah. That's
the one. And I didn't even look at it. Which is so cool. And I want to talk about come on to another German, Timo Werner. I mean, again, came with a big price tag, 50 million pounds from Leipzig. And the guy, for me, he was banging in goals for fun for the last couple of seasons, man. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, he scored, 4 goals in 22 games. Again, he needs time and he'll come good. But at the end of the day, for me, it's a better season for Timo. And have you got faith in him? Or would you, again, like Havertz, give him another year?
I've got total faith in him. I think I think if you look back over the games, you probably haven't seen the games, but he's missed some absolute sitters. Where on any other period in time they would have gone in. They're just not working. It's just not happening. And players go through these periods, especially strikers. It happens for them. There was one where he was literally under the bar and it come off his foot and went up in the air and hit the bar. It would have been harder to not put it in the net. I think it happens with strikers. I think of our penalties this season, he's got half of them. He's got quite a few assists. If you look at his stats, he's not too bad. Frank stuck him out on the left wing, which I criticised Frank for. I think he's a striker. He said the other night on the telly after one of the games that he's now playing as a left number 10, and I think that suits him because he can move around a bit, and his movement's superb, and his pace obviously. So I think once they adapt to him, to the runs he makes, because sometimes you see on the TV him making great runs, and people like Jorginho or whatever, they play another square ball to somebody else instead of playing it through. So I think that aspect of his game, once the other players start picking him out, I think he's going to be good. I'm happy with him. He's gone through a bad patch, but he started well. Gone through a very bad patch, couple of goals, and he'll be back at it again.
Sure, I should have got him on the left side of midfield in the combined 11, and that would have been balanced as well. Do you know what I mean? But it's a little too late. I made the decision now, and that is that really. So I'm definitely going to play aside in a sense. I've got a couple of comments. Go on.
Sorry, go on.
I'll be quick. Comes there. Steve Bruce, not the real Steve Bruce, by the way. Joe Linton is starting on Monday. Now, I'm getting a lot of stick because someone asked the question about Joe Linton, right, or £40 million player. And I was told on the team review called Paul, he hosted it. He asked how much he's worth, how much he's going to get back. I said 15 million if he's lucky. And then I got a lot of stick for that. And now they keep riding us up, saying that was the agent. because I love him. Listen, he's not a player. I don't think he's a good player. He's not a good player. He ain't good enough. He's terrible. Honestly, for me,
Really?
he's the worst Newcastle player. He's the worst Newcastle player in my lifetime up front. He ain't good enough for Newcastle. 3 goals in 61 games. He cannot play up front. He cannot play wide on the left. And he cannot play as a 10. He is absolutely awful. I'd just say, you know what? Just give the guy away. I've got Tom Dixon comes on these shows all the time. Evening Tom, Evening Everyone, and Steve's Evening Tom. I need to win on Monday night 100%. I think we need to really, because it was 17th place. So I'm not happy about that. So, yeah. So just
sorry, I'll just say you've had some good number 9s, you know, some good centre forwards over the years as well, haven't you?
We had Malcolm McDonald, and then it was Alan Shearer, Andy Cole, and yeah, we had some decent ones as well. Les Ferdinand, you know, all those number 9s. And this player we got now as a number 9 is insulting the legends. Callum Wilson should be number 9.
Yeah, I like Callum Wilson. I think he's a good player. He's another one though unlucky, isn't he? He's had some injuries, and he's just got another one now, hasn't he?
He has. He's got. I think he's got a groin, top of the groin. I think groin hamstring. He's going to be out for up to 2 months, and he's not the only one. Maybe in Shear, he's out for 2 months. Start to play well, and Javier Mancuyo as well, the right back. He started to play well, and he's got an injury as well. So they're all going to be out for up to 2 months, which is a shame. And the problem now, Mark, it's up front. I mean, Dwight Gale, hardly scores a goal. Andy Carroll scored once this season since he's came back to Newcastle. And Joe Linton is just a waste of time and space. I mean, if you're going to play Joe Linton up front, then it's may as well just play 10 men. And Jeff Hendrick got sent off last Saturday. Is a blessing in disguise because I don't think he's that good. He doesn't offer anything to the team.
Yeah, I mean that was a silly sending off as well, wasn't it? When you've already been booked.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I just don't think he's good enough. He doesn't bring anything to the table. You know, okay, he scored twice this season, yeah, but he just doesn't offer anything come to the forwards. You know, I just still don't know what he brings to the table. And he just as well, he didn't cost us anything because AC Milan wanted him as well. And if he went to AC Milan, player he is now, he'd get lynched.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, but we got go on.
What do you think of Fraser? Because I thought it was a good move for him, and I thought he was going to do well for you, but it's not working out too well, is it?
Things so he had an injury to begin with, he's not being picked, and he needed a run of games as well. And he's a decent player, but I've yet to see the real Ryan Fraser. And he had a good game against Everton, right? And he played a good game against Palace. He's getting back to his game, but he needs to be playing games. If he plays games, I think Ryan Fraser will be absolutely fine. And, you know, it's been a tough season for him because he had his disputes with Bournemouth as well. And when he came, quite injured as well. And Simon Jordan doesn't like him at all. Simon Jordan, I don't know if you listen to TalkSport. Simon Jordan detests him the way he treated Bournemouth.
That's right, yeah, because he ran his contract down, didn't he? And he wouldn't play in the games after he wouldn't sign a temporary contract, would he?
Nah, he just wanted away, and which is a bit unfair on Bournemouth at the end of the day because that cost Bournemouth relegation because they really needed him. They really needed him. One of the best players in the club, and the way he's walked out on them was a disgrace. But I hope he doesn't do the same with Newcastle because he's on a 5-year deal and with a different manager rather than Steve Bruce. And
that's true. I mean, Bruce is more negative thinking, isn't he, than a forward sort of thinking manager. You know, he likes a strong. Basically, he's happy that if you don't concede. His first thoughts are don't concede, isn't it?
That's right. You know, I mean, he just plays 5 at the back. He did against Sheffield United. He played 5-4-1 and got beat playing that sort of formation. And Mike Ashley, the owner, could have sacked him. I know people's going to come to us and say, "Hey, John, we won 2 games out of the last 3 games." Yeah, look at the whole picture. We won only 2 games out of the last 14 games. And our fan base just do not look at the bigger picture. The pundits don't look at the big picture as well. Do you know what I mean? I like to be honest, be truthful, be more open. Do you know what I mean? Like in depth. And people can't see that. But at the minute, 8 wins in 30-odd games, that's relegation form. And had it been for Darlow or Wilson, then we'd be in the bottom 3. We're not getting out of this.
Yeah, really. You seem. I mean, obviously, I haven't follow Newcastle's results too much, but I can, you know, they have been very erratic, aren't they? They seem to have a good win, and you think, oh, that's that, you know, like the result against Everton, and you think, well, that's a good result. You know, maybe they're going to sort of put a few results together now, and then they go and lose the next game, don't they?
Exactly. I mean, like the Everton game, we were brilliant against Everton, and that's down to Graham Jones because he told Bruce to play 4-3-3, and he's the one doing the marking. And then he put Bruce's nose out of the joint, and he was not happy at all whatsoever. He wasn't very happy. He was just so miserable, right? Any Newcastle fans will believe us, right? That saw down the Graham Jones. After the game, they all came out and hugged him. Steve Bruce was out of the picture. And then against Palace, I think anyone see it, he told Graham Jones to be on the stand, right? And then after 10 minutes, he came down, and then he had to go back into the stand. Steve Bruce thinks he's running the show because he's a manager. I get it. But because now Steve Bruce have not played a 4-3-3 at all since he's been at the club. And that 4-3-3 tactic is down to one guy, and that's Graham Jones. We get Hammer on, right? The Paraguayan, decent player. I love him, He's playing.
Saw that. Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he?
In the side position, I think the guy is dynamite. You know what I mean? You've got to let him play. You got to let him have a free role at the 10. Arlington Maxman as well, another player as well, when he's fit. I mean, watch out for him on Monday, right?
He's a player, isn't he? He is a player. I like him.
I do. And this season hasn't been great, but at the end of the day, done an assist on Saturday though, and for the first goal for Joe Willock, which I'll come to in a minute. And I'd like to see Fraser, Amiron, and ASM behind, well, would have been Callum Wilson, but he's out injured, but I'll play Dwight Gullett there. Because at the end of the day, that gives us all the hope in beating your guys. I'm not saying going to win that game, but it just gives us a hope. But like you said, Steve Bruce is so defensive, right? He'd be quite happy playing 5-4-1 on Monday. I'll bet you he plays 5-4-1. If he does that and play Jordan up front, I will not do my live watch along because I'll be wasting my time.
Yeah, really.
It's that bad.
Can St. Maxim and Fraser play together? Because they're both sort of left-sided. They both like to, you know, hog the line a little bit, don't they?
They do. They can play together. Definitely. No question about that. Fraser on the left, ASM on the right. No problems at all on the wings. And then I'm in a 10. And then Dwight Gale up front. And that is the only way they're going to win the game. But Steve is just so defensive-minded. He's just so cautious, you know. That's why I want him sacked. He should have gone after Liverpool, Mark. Should have gone after Liverpool. And then after that, and it's like Eddie Howling. Eddie Howe would be perfect for Newcastle United because he used to work with Callum and he used to work with Ryan. And at the end of the day, and he plays cracking stuff. He plays great football. Forget the relegation of Bournemouth because at the end of the day, he's took the club as far as he could. And I didn't think he was back properly as well, by the way. But listen, at the end of the day, Eddie Howe is a decent manager. And I think he'll get a good job when he comes back.
I think he will, I think he will. I mean, Bruce is he's a journeyman manager, isn't he?
He is.
You know, he's done sort of well some places and not so well in others, and you know he's never really he's never done very well anywhere, has he?
He hasn't. No, I mean the best thing I'll come with the best thing to do. And another thing is, so I've got to give it a stat in a minute, but he hasn't. I mean, a couple of relegations. He nearly took Sunderland down, even being sacked. And he said it's his dream job as well. And I'm going to come on to Alex Bruce in a minute. I don't know if you listen to Talk Sport, but I'll come to him in a minute. But for me, I mean, the reason we went to Steve Bruce, because he's a cheap option, right? He's a Newcastle fan, allegedly, which he's not. He's a Man U fan. I don't get anyone say he's a Man U fan, right? And the reason he took a Rafa Benitez, because he's a Geordie, right? And to shut our fans up. That's the reason actually done that. To shut our fans up because he's a cheap option, and he must be loving this and saying, "Wow, I'm going to take this Newcastle job on." You know what I mean? But for me, he should have what, because not just for the results, but the death threats he's had from the fans, majority of our fans, which was absolutely horrible. Mark, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's football at the end of the day. You can want your manager out. You can criticise him, you can, you know, have a go at him football-wise or whatever, but that's just disgraceful.
Absolutely shocking. It really is. You know what I mean? I just think So I hear that, and I hope now the authorities, the police, should sort that out. Which brings us on to Alex Bruce. I don't know if you listened to Talk Sport yesterday, right, when he came out and said that his dad got abused, and one of the papers on the Daily Mirror, I think it's Simon Bird, who wrote the piece yesterday, saying that the fans, he wishes that Bruce dies of COVID, and that's disgraceful to say, man. You can't say that.
It just makes you want, the sort of people that are out there, what are these people on that say things like that? It's just disgusting. There's no words, is there? There's no words for people like that, and they're out there. There's loads of them out there. Every club's got them as well.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I think it's absolutely horrible. I mean, they don't deserve a place to be Newcastle fans. I don't want them. I mean, if it's going to be like that, I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to know them. I just block them on Twitter if I find out if anyone says death threats to anybody. I mean, you're right. I mean, you can say Bruce out, which I want him out as much as any other fan, but death threats, no. But Alex Bruce had to go on Talk Sport and tell her he didn't have to tell Talk Sport. He left himself wide open, coming out and saying that, yeah. And it was a meltdown yesterday, Mark, and he should have gone to the authorities, to the police, and not.
I think the social media sites have got to take some responsibility as well, though, haven't they? They got. You shouldn't be able to just set up a site like a Twitter site or whatever without some form of proof of who you are, so that you can be traced.
Absolutely.
And then, if people could be traced for these sort of things they put on, then it would stop a lot of it.
Totally agree with you, because at the end of the day, you should have like a driver's license or your passport number sort of thing. One chance. And if you failed, then I'm sorry, but then that's it. You never come back on the platform ever again. No Facebook, no Twitter, no Insta. You are banned for life. And Napoli's got a penalty, by the way, against Juventus. So we see what happens to that one. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what can you do? And I don't think Twitter or Facebook's going to do nothing about it. They do not want to do anything about this because they know they could be shut down and they're just scared. I got Ching, right, from Singapore, right, just ask a quick question. Any thoughts on Joe Linton being shifted to the left with Miguel up front? Ching, that ain't going to happen, mate. I do not want Joe Linton anywhere near your team ever again. There's no way. And that would be unfair on Ryan Theatre. So, that ain't going to happen, my guy. I hope you're okay, though. But you're right. But on the Twitter thing, it's just getting out of hand. And Twitter should be fun and bantering, not things like that. And there's no place for it at all, mate.
No, I agree with you. I think on Twitter, I mean, I find that if someone starts insulting or whatever, the thing just block them. Just block them straight away. Don't get involved. Don't argue back. Just block them.
Totally agree. That's the best way to go going forward. Anyone say anything? Napoli's just gone up front against Juventus by 0-0 because I do love me Serie A football. Lorenzo Insigne scored from the penalty spot after Cellini, I think he handballed the ball. So Napoli need to win that game for many, many reasons. You're right. But at the end of the day, I mean, I've got nearly 11,000 Twitter followers as well. I mean, and I'm proud of that as well. So I've been on Twitter for 10 years? And I had some good times and bad times. I've been trolled as well. And people are saying nasty things about this sort of thing. I've blocked them. I've reported them as well, mind you. I was going to come off Twitter. And then, you know what? I'm glad I haven't. Because at the end of the day, I love going on Twitter. I love to socialise with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It makes you laugh, the amount of these people that do come on and they insult or whatever. Yeah, even if just a general argument, you're having a discussion and you don't agree. And, you raise your points and all that. And then they'll come back on and they'll insult you. They nearly always have a false profile.
Totally agree.
They're always behind. They're always hiding behind a false profile. They come on and they say this and they say that, and they're always hiding behind that false profile.
Totally agree. I mean, I had that as well, and all I do is check out their program, check out their background, set that sort of, and then if it's them, and I caught a few of them out anyway. So just get rid of it. I've got Ching again from Singapore. He said, doing good. There will always be personal threats and insults on Twitter. Best not to give them any attention. Totally agree. hate that as issues dividing the fan base and giving us a bad name. You're reaching, you're absolutely right. Do you agree with that, though, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. But talking about like your, about your club generally, like Newcastle. I mean, unfortunately, you've been saddled with a bad owner, haven't you?
We have. I mean, been with Ashley for 14 years, and everyone's going to, and he says he's going to spend money. I mean, the thing with Mike Ashley, right? He wants to spend very little for maximum return. He's quite happy finishing 17th, and that's where we are in elite because Burnley won the day, 17th place. That's might actually be happy to finish 17th place every season, but as a supporter, I would have aimed higher than that because I've got an elite mindset. I've got an elite mindset. Newcastle is like the Milan and Inter of English football if it's done right. He doesn't want us to be in.
Yeah, you're a big club. And I can remember, the good sides with Keegan and Ferdinand when Keegan was a manager, and Les Ferdinand and what have you. You had a good side. You should have won the league that year. When Keegan imploded, you should have won it. You was playing some great football that year.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It's just a shame that it all went wrong towards the end, isn't it? But you've always played good football. You've got good fans. You should be up there. You should be up there challenging for European places every year, really.
I totally agree there, Mark. I mean, we're massive. If we won the league that year, we would have just gone up and up and up under Kevin Keegan. But obviously, he left because of some disagreements. But we had some great managers. I mean, you got Kevin Keegan, Bobby Robson, got us Champions League twice. Rafa Benitez, he wasn't back properly. There's no way Newcastle United will be 17th today if we had any of those three managers.
Yeah, that's right.
No way whatsoever. But you're right. But we have some damn good players in Newcastle, like Ginola, Robert, we have Gary Speaker and Dye when he's fit. And Kira Bellamy. And the problem back then on the Bobby Robson era, he never had a good defence. And that is the thing. He never looked after the defence properly until he signed Jonathan Woodgate. When he signed Jonathan Woodgate, he made a huge difference.
Yeah.
The guy.
I mean, we're sort of going on about Bruce. I must admit, I know you've got to get the balance right because you're never going to win anything if you haven't got a good defence. So I agree with getting that side of it right. You've got to make sure you don't concede goals. But there's a balance, isn't there? You've got to be looking to go forward as well. You can't just rely on just defending, unless you're Jose Mourinho, of course.
Absolutely, I would love to have Jose Mourinho tomorrow. To be fair, you know what I mean. I think out of the 23 games we played, I think you only kept a clean sheet 3 times. That's away to West Ham United. That was against Palace, and that's against Everton away. Remember, so it's like we only get 3 clean sheets. That is not good. And when you play further at the back, you had to be solid and you had to be tight. Steve Bruce cannot get a tune out of that defense at all whatsoever. Rafa Benitez gave us hope. He relied on defense. I mean, obviously he had it at Chelsea, and I don't know if I'm going to mention him to the Chelsea fans, or we'll probably get lynched.
Well, he wasn't welcome, and we made that very clear. But at the end of the day, he did a good job, and I give him credit for that. And getting back to what we were saying earlier, he clearly wasn't welcome, and in the ground it was made very clear to him that he wasn't welcome. But I don't think he ever got death threats.
Oh God, no, he wouldn't get. So no way, because what he did do, he got in the Champions League though. He got your Champions League spot.
Yeah, he done a job. He done a good job. You can't knock it, but we just. There was just history. He's just not liked. He's not liked from his Liverpool days and things he used to say. Things he said, and it just wasn't liked. Full stop. And it was a kick in the teeth. In some ways, when Abramovich brought him in. But to be fair, he done a job, and and there was a grudging respect for him, I would say, at the end.
Fair enough. I thought when the Chelsea fan booed him, I thought, why are they booing him something? But now you told us, I can technically understand. But you know what I mean? And I'm sorry to hear that. But
yeah, we used to sing in, you'd sing in the stands, "You're not welcome here, you're not welcome here," I won't tell you all the rest of it.
I know, but he still didn't listen to you. You know what I mean? But you can't see Newcastle United fans saying things like that to Rafa Benitez because the guy's been absolutely amazing for the buzz he was on. And if you look at Newcastle, right? I mean, come back to Chelsea. I mean, we haven't even made that progress. So when you come back in the Premier League, finished 10th, then 12th, and then 13th, and now we're 17th in a minute. What's going to happen next? We have not progressed whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's just keep going down. And a lot of people not known this yet. But next season could be a huge, huge season for Newcastle because we've got 12 players out of contracts at the end of the season. And we have 12 players out of contracts at the end of the season, which is a hell of a lot. And, you know, it's just, we need to get sorted very quickly. Hopefully, Steve Bruce will be sacked as well at the end of the season, but Ashley won't do it because, you know what? Even finish 17th, he's keeping him on.
How long is his contract for, John?
Until the end of next season.
End of next season. Yeah,
next season.
Because obviously, if he sacks him, he's got to pay him up, hasn't he?
Aye, but you know how much he's on his season? He's only on £1 million.
Is he?
He's on £1 million a season. Just $1 million.
Really?
The lowest in the Premier League.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, if he sacks him at the end of this season, he's got to pay him another $1 million, hasn't he?
Absolutely, which is chicken feed at the moment because $1 million ain't a lot of money in the Premier League. You know, it's just like in the old days. You know what I mean? And Ashley ain't gonna pay the money. He knows he wants to sell the club, and I blame the Premier League as well for not allowing that to happen because Ashley wants to sell the club. The Saudis, the PCP, PIF people want to buy the club. Everything's been agreed. The Premier League won't agree it because they do not want Newcastle United to be another big hitter, and also. Richard Masters has basically said, we don't want to upset the big six.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Nah, he does not. No. Premier League's corrupt.
I mean, with the Saudis, you know, there's a bit of baggage comes with the way in Saudi Arabia, the way that, you know, the way they are politically and stuff like that.
Sure. I mean, I've heard that, but at the end of the day, I mean, for them, it had nothing to do with the PIF sort of thing. You know what I mean? They haven't done anything wrong. It's only piracy, from my understanding. It's only piracy, which has got no proof. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now Qatar and Saudis are like that now. They can watch their games now. I mean, if you check out Ben Jacobs' Twitter account, right? It can be very. It can be what's the one I'm for? Coming with it's P word, predicting himself. You know what I mean? Contradicting himself on his tweets.
Yeah, contradictory. Yeah.
He does not want to take over the happen. Do you know what I mean? What happened is, I mean, Richard Masters, the Premier League's listened to other people before making a decision, and he's basically said that he turned around to Amanda Staveley and the PIF PCP capitalists sort of thing and said, "We're not going to reject you, but we're not going to pass you."
Yeah, nowhere then, isn't it? That's the same as rejecting, isn't it?
Totally agree. You're right, but they haven't got. They don't want to say that because they don't want to get taken to the court. And Nick DeMarco, if you check out on the streets, is saying that he's giving clues away to Newcastle fans, and he's basically saying he's going to take the Premier League to court to make sure this takeover happens because they both want the deal. And if the Premier League don't accept it, it's going to court. And the Premier League do not want that to the court. If you see what I mean, so it's just.
So you think it could happen maybe end of the season or something like that?
I'm gonna say it's bobbing along the background nicely, but I reckon something's gonna happen. That's my guess. I know people's gonna be skeptical about it, but I believe it's gonna happen because Ashley wants out, the Saudis wants in, and the Premier League cannot do a thing about it. And it has to pass. If it doesn't pass, our club could be sinking to relegation next season.
Yeah.
You know,
we hope not, because you know, Newcastle are Premier League side. They should always be in the Premier League.
Totally agree. It needs a big hitter like Newcastle United, and needs a big club in Northeast to, you know, get the money coming in and to make a competition. And they said the Premier League's the world's best league. For me, I don't think it is. It's a corrupt league. I'm sorry. It's so corrupt. It's unbelievable. It's all about the top six. No disrespect to you, Mark. I think Chelsea are a candy club. But at the end of the day, they're looking after the big six clubs, and the other 14 teams doesn't exist to Richard Masters. The guy is an absolute idiot. I mean, I've got this tweet here, like from cheering against Singapore. he constantly chats. He goes, "We have to hope Bruce doesn't get off a new contract. That's the best we can hope for. That he leaves at the end of his current end of his deal, or we get taken over." Well, let's put it this way: if Steve Bruce gets a new contract and he signs it, I guarantee you something, right? The fans will be on his case. He's lucky that there's no fans in the stadium, right, to witness it. Otherwise, he'll be gone.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? I mean, football, John. You know, it's the old saying. It's a funny old game. What happens if Newcastle now go on a run? Hopefully after Monday, but if they go on a run of say 6 or 7 games, you know, winning, and they finish up, you know, they fly up the league.
Yeah.
Then everything changes, doesn't it? And people's perception of him will change.
Yeah, from the outsider, probably, but still not to Steve Bruce. But that's all down to Graham Jones. Graham Jones is kind of from Bournemouth, and he's telling Bruce to play this way, play a 4-3, right? And that's the way to go. To been the best out of Miron, the best at ASM. He's basically telling Steve Bruce, "You're doing this wrong, son." Do you know what I mean? So it's all down to Graham Jones, our assistant manager. And for me, that's, if you don't know Graham Jones, he used to be with Roberto Martinez in the Belgium setup.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
We get well under him. So, and Jen's got a question for you, my friend. He said, "I wanted to ask a Chelsea fan this," which is you, of course, Mark. "Do you think Abramovich has overstayed his welcome, or you guys still satisfied with his ownership?"
No, he absolutely hasn't overstayed his welcome. Not in any way. No. It's, you know, obviously we've got a good owner, haven't we? You know, as I said to you before, no matter what he does, you can't argue with the record, and you can't argue with him putting his money where his mouth is. Well, absolutely. I say where his mouth is because you never hear him speak, do you? But you know, he backs his club. You know, when he first came in, and all the stick that you was getting from other supporters, you know, oh, it's his toy, he'll be gone in 2 years, you know. He's been there, 16, 17 years now. And he's more or less backed the club all the way through those years.
Totally agree. I wish I had an owner like him at Newcastle. And I'll tell you what, Steve Bruce wouldn't even going to come anywhere near the club.
Yeah. And he propelled us into another level, you know. But we're at that level now. You know, everyone still says it's just him throwing money at the club, but it's not now. You know, the club pretty much runs within the fair play rules league, within fair play rules, financial fair play rules. It pretty much pays for itself now. The club, you know, all the money we spent in the transfer market in the summer, that was all funded. You know, it wasn't Abramovich putting his hand in his pocket. You know,
right.
That's funded. We got good money for Hazard. The youth system, the academy. People say, oh, they never get a chance. Oh, they do now at the moment, but they weren't getting a chance. But the academy might not produce players that play for Chelsea, but they produce footballers, professional footballers, and Chelsea make money. It's a model. You know, they bring these players on. They bring them on and they sell them. Bring the young kids on. They get a good grounding, a good academy, good training, and then we sell them. You know, if they don't make it in the first team, then we sell them and get money for them.
Yeah, so, I totally agree. That's why Chelsea wants to be in big name players already, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And I can understand how it works, sort of thing. And the players comes in, does a good job. I mean, you've got big players coming in, and basically, if you're not good enough, then you have to move on, which is a shame because that's how it works.
It's hard because the pressure's there at Chelsea for any manager to obviously compete at the highest level all the time. So it's a tightrope because they've got to do that, and that makes it harder to bring in young players who, you know, obviously now and again going to make mistakes, or they're not going to dominate games the way a senior, well-established player might, you know, in their position. So it's difficult to bring younger players through at times.
Sure.
But we've seen that if you do bring them through, if they're good enough, they survive. You know, Mason Mount, Billy Gilmore, you know, the young players with Tammy Abraham, you know, they're good players. And if someone like Tammy, Tammy, if he doesn't make it, you know, he's doing well. But if they do decide to sell him, they'll get good money for him, and they bought him through the youth setup. So
Absolutely.
you know,
I
so
agree.
so I to answer the original question, no, I absolutely I'm still a big fan of Abramovich. He hasn't outstayed his welcome, not in any way, in my
Definitely.
opinion. And I would say 99.9% of Chelsea supporters.
Totally agree with you there. I mean, you got a good owner there, and you got a good reach backer as well. And I got Ching again. He said, fair enough. I remember the old days at Chelsea when you guys enjoyed the sexy football under Hullet, Sola, Vialli. But you guys are completely on another level now. I have to agree with him.
Yeah. No, I agree. I know they were great days because, I mean, we, as I told you earlier, I supported Chelsea from the 60s. So late 60s, early 70s, well, late 60s to say 71, we were a team on the up again. You know, we had a good side, was on the up. And then financial problems, which we built a new stand, a new East stand, and it nearly bankrupted the club. And then we went down again. You know, we ended up a yo-yo club, second division, first division, second division, and what have you. And then what changed it was Ken Bates. He brought in Glenn Hoddle as manager, and that was the beginning of a sort of a new era, really, for us. Ken Bates, to be fair to him, you know, bless him, he did well. He refurbished the ground. He you know, built all the new stands and what have you. He brought Hoddle in, and that really was the start of us on the up, because people forget that when Abramovich took over the club, we'd qualified for the Champions League. That was before Abramovich's money. We'd been in the Champions League a few years earlier, and we'd qualified again when Abramovich bought the club. So we were, you know, we was a club on the up for sure.
Absolutely. I was going to mention Glenn Hoddle, but you beat us to it again. He had 3 seasons, you guys. We went on to England, and yeah, I mean, decent players. Mark Steen used to play for them. John Spencer. He had some decent players there as well. You know what I mean? Like, is it Karine in goal, the Russian lad from Chelsea?
Yeah, Dimitri Karine. Yeah.
That's good. Paul Elliott. He's a real leader at Chelsea, man. Paul Elliott, a true leader.
Yeah, it's a shame, Paul Elliott. I mean, he got put out of the game, didn't he? One tackle, and he got put out of the game. You know, far too young. He got a bad injury, a bad tackle for Dean Saunders, and
that was shocking.
Yeah, and it put him out of the game. But he was good, very good player, Paul Elliott. Very good player.
On the ball, he can bring the ball out from the back, and he's calm with it as well. And the guy's just top quality. He used to play in Italian football with Pisa, if my memory serves us rightly, and then he came back.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Hoddle bought Hullet in. Hoddle bought Glenn Hullet in. If I remember right. I'm thinking.
Yes, he did.
And yeah, as I say, the sexy football, that was the beginning, really. And then Glenn went off to be the England manager. He never got the sack or anything like that. He left the club to take over the England job.
Exactly. And then Ruud Hullet took over for a couple of seasons, like, you know, and then Ruud took over. Yeah, Ruud took over, and then Ruud left, and then Vialli took over as well. And he's done some good things, Vialli, didn't he, when he took over? You know, he came in with very little experience, no experience in football whatsoever as a manager. And yeah, things has changed, and he's done a good job for you.
He did really well, Vialli. I mean, it was, in a way, it echoes of Frank now, in some ways, you know, because he was absolutely, you know, adored by the Chelsea fans and whatever. And he took over as manager, and it's almost like a replay of what's happened with Frank in some ways, you know. The first little bad patch he went through, he got the sack.
He did. If my memory serves correctly, back in 2000, he got sacked after 4 games when you lost drew with Arsenal, 2s each. When Candy scored that goal for a cute angle, and then drew 2s each. Was it 2? That's the game, wasn't it?
I was at that game, actually. That was a game we was winning 2-0.
Yes.
And Canty got he got a hat trick, didn't he? And he hit that one from the corner flag almost.
Yeah.
And it went in. Yeah, I was in just behind the goal that day. We were 2-0 up, coasting that game, and it started pouring with rain, absolutely pouring with rain, and the pitch became really, really wet with surface water and everything. And the game sort of degenerated a little bit, and I think we sat on that. We got 2-0 up and thought we'd won the game, and they got back into it. Yeah, and then I mean, you probably know more than me here, John. Cause I'm forgetting this, but was it after that time after that Vialli got the sack?
Yeah, he got sacked after 4 games, and then Claudio Ranieri came, and he used to be a Cali at the time, and then Napoli, and then I thought, wow, Ranieri's manager for Chelsea. I thought that'd be interesting. That's an interesting move. And I can remember years ago where I watched this program called Hold the Back Page with Brian, the great late Brian Rono off the Sun. And when I found he's going to be manager, sort of thing, there's Italian journalists in there. He was asked, tell him all about Claudio Ranieri. And I thought, wow. And he didn't speak a word of English. And within a couple of months, his English is so perfect.
That's right. I
thought, wow, he learned English in that short time, and he was funny, man. He is really, really funny.
Yeah, he's a really likable guy, Ranieri, isn't he? Even now, you know, he's a likable, and he did well for Chelsea as well. He did okay, and he was the manager when Abramovich took over. He had a season as the manager.
Yeah, he did. I thought he was brilliant. I mean, he played good football, and he played 4-4-2. It was attacking, and now, listen, I thought at one stage he's going to win the league because you bought Lampard at the time, Petit. I think you bought Zenden as well. And you bought in 4 players in that summer for about 30-odd million pounds, which is a lot of money at the time. Today's prices, you're talking about over 150 million for those 4 players at the time. And how did they well? So, and yeah, I mean, those 4 players you bought in, you played us in the very first game. I was at the ground at Stamford Bridge, and you drew once each when Robert took a free kick. I think it was Ed Digoy made a save, really pad out for Acuna and made it once each. He could have won the game, but when I watched at the stand, I thought, yes, once each, first game point against Chelsea, I was happy at that.
Yeah. I think Ranieri's downfall, John, to be honest with you, was the Champions League semi-final against Monaco. We was in control of that game totally, and you know he had the reputation, didn't he, Tinker Man?
Yeah,
and he tinkered, and did he tinker? You know, and he messed the side up, and I think we lost 3-1 in the first leg. Yeah, and we should have got to the final that season. You know, we were a better side than Monaco, and ironically, the final would have been against Porto. That's when Mourinho won the Champions League with Porto, didn't he, against Monaco in the final?
He did.
And we should have been in that final, you know. And I think if Ranieri hadn't messed around, I think we would have been. I think, and I could be wrong here. Memory could be blank. I think we were winning 1-0 away from home. So we had the away goal. You know, we could have shut out the game. You know, and he messed around with the side, and it all went wrong. We lost 3-1, I think.
Yeah, you do once each. When it's a Monaco, he was a goal behind, then Crespo got that equalising goal, and that would have been enough to make it a draw. And then Monaco scored 2 goals, and that cost the game. Yeah,
that might be it. Yeah, my memory might be playing tricks on me there, but yeah, I think something like that. He definitely messed up that semi-final. That's for sure. You know,
totally wrong. I just don't understand why he's done it, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So, come towards an hour, sort of thing. I'll ban myself for doing another 3 hours on the stream because I've done that last night. I was supposed to do the press conference reaction with Holly Blades, and she's only 16. Absolutely lovely. I hope she's listening to us as well. And Holly, if you're on the chat, just send us a message. And basically, right, I mean, it should have been for an hour, and that was it. Then I had 3 other guys came on my chat as well, and we ended up staying on for 3.5 hours, and that will be happening again. So, you know,
I've really enjoyed this. I was obviously, as I said to you, I've never done anything like this before, so I was quite nervous, you know, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the chat with you. I think dinner's ready now, so I might have to go in a minute anyway. But
fine. I mean, that's fine. Before I let you go, I have to ask this question that asks everybody as well. 2 questions, actually. First of all, what's the score going to be on Monday between Chelsea and Newcastle?
Oh, I hate predicting Chelsea wins because it comes back and bites you on the backside, doesn't it? Obviously, I want a Chelsea win, so I'm gonna go with. We're not scoring many goals. That's the problem. We're not scoring many goals, and you're playing defensively. So I'm going to say we're going to nick a 1-0.
You're going to say 1-0. I'm going to say 2-0 to use. I did say 3, but I could say 2-0 to Chelsea. But I think Newcastle, if we play 4-3-3, we'll still be in the game. If we play 5-4-1, we're going to get beat. But I'm still going to say 2-0 to Chelsea. But I hope we give a good account of ourselves on the night. And one more question. Have you enjoyed coming on my show?
Absolutely. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Thanks very much for asking me.
You're welcome. Well, thank you very much indeed for coming on my chat. And we must do it again. And let's make the best team wins on Monday. And I'm definitely going to wish you all the best after the Monday's game. And let's hope you guys get in the top 4 and good luck with that.
Yeah, and same to the Toon. Good luck to the Toon for the rest of the season.
You too. Thank you very much, Mark. You take care, man. Have a
Cheers,
good
mate.
one. Yes.
Bye, John.
Bye now. Bye. Right, that was Mark Brown. Thanks so much for him to come on me chat. And look, what a Chelsea legend. Fantastic guy. And he's very switched on. Not bad for 63 as well, mind, you know. He must think I know more than Chelsea than he does. But listen, he's a great guy. But I'm going to wrap up very quickly because I'm not allowed to do 3-hour streams anymore. This is a watch-along game. If you like any of my videos, please smash the likes up and subscribe if you are new. And listen, I'm going to do another one later on. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But at the end of the day, it's going to be something special. But I'll be back tomorrow as well. I'll also be doing the half-term player ratings, hopefully with Samantha or Holly, and talk about the match preview for Monday's game. So I've got to say thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you have a good evening. I'm going to watch the Napoli-Juventus game, the second half. Napoli win by a goal to 0. And then after that, I'm going to have a Chinese, which I think I deserve it. But until then, guys, I'll be the lads, and I'm going to be out of here, man. Catch you later. See you later. Bye-bye.